Hello.
Hello, hi.
This is all very exciting.
Hello. Yes, it is. So yeah, I'm Svenja. Hi. I would love us to start by introducing ourselves, as Rose has said. So I would ask you to give your name, if you like, where you're from, what you like most about this series, why you choose the timeline thingy, and if you like anything about yourself that hasn't anything to do with John Finnemore, or just if you feel comfortable with it. So I think I would just start. So hi, my name is Svenja. I'm from Germany, near Frankfurt. I've been following John Finnemore for 9 years now, I think. And I was very confused by the series at first, as probably I think that's the general experience, but I love it so much because I love the family thing so much, and I think it's really important for our times at the moment. Yeah, I've done timeline, as I said, which was crazy endeavor, and I have 2 bunnies, and I would like to pass on to Jamie if you like.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Jimmy. I am originally from Northern Ireland, but I now live in Cardiff. I think the thing I've enjoyed most about this series is how it deals with the serious issues as well as the comedy stuff. Like it's just very sweet, but very understanding of lots of things like death and Jerry's aphasia and the homosexual relationships and just all the things where you have to handle it delicately, but I think it's been really lovely how well it's been done. And yeah, so I joined Timeline because I've spent the last couple of weeks building a big timeline website of everything, which hopefully I'll get to show off to you at some point. Yeah, that's me.
Would you pass on to anyone?
What was that?
You can nominate someone to.
Oh, sorry.
Continue. No, that's fine.
Beryl.
Hey, I'm Biril. I'm from Istanbul, and I had the same experience like everybody else in the first episode, but I did suspect that he was going to do some grand putting together in the following weeks, and he did. I suppose we all know our John Finnemore by now. And what I really love about this is I was thinking to myself that, on television and radio and books, we kind of get dysfunctional things discussed. We get psychopaths and evil people, whatever. But we very rarely get healthy, functional, loving families portrayed. And I was so happy to get that for a change. And I'd like to pass over to Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm in the Peak District in Derbyshire. I listened to the first episode of this series, and I knew because I'd seen him tweeting that it was going to go backwards in time, but I forgot to listen to the bits that said what time and what place, what year and what place each sketch was from. So I ended up totally confused and almost slightly resenting it. And then I listened again because I'd listened the first time when I was cooking or something, and it all slotted into place, and I thought, there's something building here, and I was just absolutely hooked from that. And it reminded me actually of the very first episode of Cabin Pressure. No, anyway, where I was equally baffled by the first episode, and I thought this is a series for people who only know about only people who know about airlines, and And then I was totally hooked on that, and I've downloaded that onto my phone. It's my comfort listen. Anyway, that's me. And I joined the timelines because I think I've figured out the family tree now. I wrote that down, but I'm still a bit confused about some of the timelines, so I think I want to learn. I'll pass on to Beatrice, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yes. Hi, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, that's perfect. The pronunciation was perfect. Hi, nice to meet you all. My name is Beatriz. I'm originally from Brazil, but I'm now based in Geneva. I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat what everybody here said, but the first episode was really, I was really baffled by it. I couldn't understand what it all meant. Especially when I think about, I knew it would only be 6 episodes, and I think you like using one of 6 to give people something that they're not gonna make, they're gonna have so much trouble making sense out of it. I thought it was so confusing, but because I've listened to a lot of what he did before, and I trusted him that he would deliver something good, and of course he did, and I loved how he treated family history, and I'm gonna get a little personal here, but well, I come from Brazil, and I come from my background is like working class, very poor family, so I don't know, like past 3 generations behind me, I don't know anything about them, but there are some pieces of things that give me some insight on what my family once was, like who was part of my family. I know, for instance, my grandma used to call cigarettes papirosca, which meant at some point there was a Russian somewhere that passed that down in the family, and I came to treasure that so much. And this is one of the things that got me hooked and really like emotionally involved with this series. I thought it was just beautiful. But yeah, I'm gonna give the floor now to Martin. Okay, nice to meet you all.
Hi, yeah. So I'm in South Wales. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everyone. And one thing I just pick out when I was re-listening to it on Friday with the whole thing, and I suddenly realised that having got so enmeshed in the family stuff, that I hadn't noticed how brilliant some of the comedy bits are. I mean, the Magpie poem is absolutely brilliant, and it just keeps building. You think, well, we've got to the end now, and it's just, you know, what's interesting, I think, is that you know, that it could have been another of the usual series in terms of the comedy bits, but because of the way that it's presented, you know, you become so involved with the family that they're almost sneaking in. But yeah, so and I've chose timelines because yeah, I was very confused. I'm an archaeologist, and I'm sort of used to dealing with sort of chronologies, and so I started trying to sort it out, and then I got frustrated. And but there was a very good article. I can't remember who wrote it, but there was a good article which summarised, you know, events so far, which I found very relaxing, because I thought, okay, I know where we're going now. But yeah, I was just interested to see what people's answers are about that. So I'll nominate Davies.
Yeah, I read. Yeah, Dave. So yeah, from the accent, originally from Britain, but I've been currently in Taipei at the moment. Yeah, I think like everyone else, slightly odd start. I think it's probably the 3rd episode before there was like enough backstory and enough kind of reference points before I've really enjoyed the series, and then kind of just built up from then. And then I think a particular joy was then going back and re-listening to the first episode again, and just the number of things which come back up straight away, but also very subtly, because it was even like because I re-listened through earlier today, and just like the tearing of the hats is kind of alluded to, but it's never kind of explicitly stated. And there's just so many things like that which you can only pick up. Yeah, it's just a work of genius, but it takes, yeah, or at least took me quite a long time to unpick it all. Yeah, and I think, is it Hannah's the only one left, I believe.
Hi, I've managed to unmute myself. Hi. Yeah, I won't say very much. I just want to echo what everybody else has said, really. I'm Hannah. I'm also in the Derbyshire Peak District, like somebody else was, I think, Rachel, I think. And yeah, I just the same as everybody else, really. I took me a few episodes, probably episode 3, before I really felt like I was knowing what was going on. And the timeline is one thing that I found equally kind of absorbing and fascinating and frustrating. And I'm still slightly frustrated by it. So I'm hoping that coming along to this session might help sort of some of the things I'm still a bit confused by, finding it quite slippery still. And I'm hoping some of that might get sorted out for me in here today. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you all. So now, to be perfectly honest with you, we haven't really planned a breakout session to give you guys a chance to like do whatever here. Just one thing, in the end, we want to like find 1 or 2 things that like revelations, something we found out we want to share with the whole group when we go back, and yeah, present it there. And other than that, we're free to do whatever. So I would like to start by asking you, has anyone a timeline they want to share? So I think Jamie has one. Anyone else? That doesn't seem to be the case. So Jamie, would you like to share with us? I think you should be already allowed to.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll also just, I say it's all online, so I'll just drop the link in so you can explore it. Let me share my screen. Oops. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Great. Okay, so I'll drop the link into chat as well. Oh, although I don't know where the chat window's gone. Now that I'm sharing my screen, I don't know. Oh, there's chat. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so I am a programmer by trade. So when all the connections of this started to become clear, it sort of naturally fired into my mind. The one to be like, okay, well, why is, what's the reference to this? What's going on here? Like, how do these things interconnect? Where does this character show up again? All that kind of stuff. So I started making a website to help me track that, and also just as it's a bit of a hobby project. Yeah, so the main things you can do, you can kind of sort by the whole thing by chronological order, which obviously gives you like everything that's ever happened. Please do excuse if you're looking through this, like typos and like just grammatical errors and stuff like this, because I was finishing this at about 4 a.m. this morning, because that was like as a dev, the thing that I want to do is like all the sort of fun building the UI and working out how the connections are going to work, and then the actual slog of going through and cataloging everything took a lot longer. So yeah, please excuse any inaccuracies like that. But yeah, so you can either just go through and just check out the whole timeline, and that's a useful thing to be able to do. But then what I wanted to do is be able to look at individual character timelines. So if you just pick out Jerry, you can see everything that's happened in Jerry's life, what age he was when it happened, how he's related to people in the scene, stuff like that. Or if you want to find out what's happened about kazoos, you can find out that Newt got a kazoo back in 1899 in his Christmas cracker. He later gives that to Jerry as a birthday present, and Jerry incorporates that in the ritual of the keeper of the cakes of Pan in 1966 with his own kids. And yeah, I mean, like, obviously, the idea of this is just that it should be nice and explorative. As you're reading through it, you sort of say, wait, why is that highlighted? And it's because, in 1899, they tell Oswald to let Toby the dog out, and in 2020, 121 years later, somebody tells Toby to let their dog Oswald out. And there's the connections there. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions about it or anything like that. I'd be very happy to answer them. yeah, it's been a real labor of love, but I've really enjoyed doing it. And like as a result, I've listened to the show many times, and you keep on picking up new connections and new things. And I'm sure I've still missed some because there's so many little subtle things that go on. Yeah, I just find it such a beautiful show to listen to. So it was nice to study it a bit in depth as well.
Absolutely amazing. I love the technical thing behind it because wow, that's so helpful. I would have loved to have that when I listened to it. I think that would be so helpful for people who are still struggling. Thank you. Oh, so I'm hearing we already expected back in a few minutes. But yeah, anyone else? Any questions for Jamie or anything else you want to share? Oh, so Jamie, have you put this on the Padlet thingy yet? You can put the link.
Yeah, I put it on the bottom of the timeline section of Padlet.
Great. So for everyone, yeah, exactly. So for everyone, you can find everything there.
No, I'm just amazed at the work behind this and at the, I don't know, do you call them hyperlinks or whatever that you can, it's just amazing. I think I'm going to spend a lot of time reading this.
Thank you. Yeah, hyperlinks, that's right.
Yeah, me too. I'm now really excited to see which connections you found that I missed actually.
And also be, I mean, if you have connections that I've missed as well, it's should be, now that I've got it all set up, it should be easy to edit things into.
Yes, nice.
But,
did you find out that Deborah doesn't like pudding and that it's in 3 scenes at least? That was my favorite because there was just.
Yes, this is the pudding timeline, as far as I know it.
Oh, that was so good. Nice. So you've got more than me. What's the 4th one?
The 4th one was just a reference to the fact that she asks Myra to come help her with the pudding.
Okay.
I'm assuming, rather than as in, yeah. So Hilla gets summoned by the kitchen timer to go and fetch the pudding, and she asks Myra. So it's not a very strong link, but it's still about pudding.
I love it. So since we're already running out of time, no idea how that, are we? Hang on, let me check the timeline again. No, we still have time. Sorry for the panic. So anyone else who wants to share something? All right. In that case, I would like to show you mine, if I manage. So I've done a similar thing, I think, just not as technologically advanced, because I just did it in a Word document thingy. Can you see it? Right. So yeah, I've done 2 versions, one sorted by episode and one sorted chronologically. And I think the only thing I have that you didn't, I think, are the timestamps. Otherwise, I think James is probably much more easier to find stuff in. And yeah, I've done one column of the references I could spot, but I had no idea how to connect them. So the hyperlink thing was actually genius. So yeah, it's on the Padlet if you like to check that out later on. Feel free to comment. Yeah, to do the recording thingy. But yeah, anyone else? Any revelations?
Jamie, how long did that take you to put together? Because I kind of started like trying to do a very basic version myself. I was like, oh, this too long a time commitment. Try to take the notes at the rate that they're coming out of the program.
Well, I actually only realized it was only as episode 4 was coming out that I realized this series existed. I didn't know he was in an announced series. So at that point, I started fiddling around with the structure of the website, and I've been putting that in place. I don't know, like I haven't entirely been working 100% of the time when I'm working from home for my actual tech job at the minute. And if I have a little bit of, you know, if I'm in a meeting or something like that and I don't have to speak for a bit, I'm probably tinkering away on this website and adding new features and be like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if you could do this kind of thing. So yeah, that was sort of tinkered together over a couple of weeks. And then as of Friday afternoon, all I had was the first half of episode 1. So I spent like a huge amount of Friday night and like literally from about 8 a.m. yesterday morning to about 4 a.m. this morning, I input the data for the remaining episodes. But at that point, it was quite, you know, it was just I listened to the episode loads. I knew what roughly the links I was looking out for as I was listening to the scenes one by one. And it's just a very nice way to spend a Saturday, really, just listening to the show. And it was also like, it was really, really nice every time you find a new link as well, as in like you sort of listening, you know, you think you've got it all down, you've taken all your notes, and then it's just like, oh, actually 3 a.m. in the morning, and I've just discovered that this scene links to the one, you know, that I listened to half a day ago. So yeah.